David Doubilet jokes that he spent half his life underwater. And really, he's logged more than 27,000 hours in the ocean as a National Geographic contributing photographer, explorer, and one of the world's most influential environmental storytellers. Jennifer Hayes is an underwater photographer, scientist, and aquatic biologist, equally at home beneath the surface. In fact, they met underwater, became partners in life and work, and together founded Underseas Images, Inc., driven by a shared mission to document the ocean while fighting to protect it. David is 79 years old, and after decades of returning to the same reefs, polar seas, and fragile marine environments, I get to ask him what he's seen change, what remains perilously at risk, and what the ocean is still trying to tell us, if we're willing to listen. I'm Alex Honnold, professional rock climber and founder of the Honnold Foundation, bringing you stories of inspiring people who are helping to solve today's most pressing conservation issues. In partnership with the Rolex Perpetual Planet Initiative, this is Planet Visionaries.
I am David Doubilet. I am an underwater photographer. I have been working for National Geographic now for 55 years, shooting 70% of our world.
My name is Jen Hayes. David Doubilet and I go into the sea as a partner to co-produce stories for National Geographic.
We go into the ocean as not just a voyage, a journey of exploration, but we go into it as a place to document a time and a place that's constantly changing. We go back into the files, we find the exact place, and we return there and see what the changes are. And the changes are incredible. For the most part, sad.
As a journalist, you have to tell the hard truths. And then you show them the resilience, the realities, and the wins in the world. You bring them hope. So there's a balance in storytelling. You tell them how amazing this planet is. Yes, we have problems, but then you show them where we are winning.
I think images have the power to convince the unconvinced. They have the power to illuminate. They have the power to humiliate. They have the power, in our case, to bring people into the sea, to open their eyes to this world that really has only been illustrated by images for less than 75 years.
If I could leave audiences with one single feeling about the ocean, connectivity. You may think you have nothing to do with the ocean, but we do. Every other breath. It is the Earth's engine. As the oceans go, so do we. We are of the ocean. It's that simple.
If I had one image to choose from, I would choose a picture I made in Papua New Guinea, New Ireland, 1986, a circle of barracuda surrounding a diver named Dinah Halstead. And the barracuda went once and twice around the barracuda circle because it's a defensive mechanism. But they form a perfect circle, a piece of geometry in a world that has no geometry. And it was one of those moments that you can never repeat. Yes, I've seen barracudas. Jennifer and I have been with cowards of barracudas, but never that moment.
Welcome to Planet Visionaries. Thank you so much for taking the time. Let's just get into it. Tell me about your work and what you guys are doing right now.
It's funny, I grew up here in New York City, New York, not far away from where we're sitting right now, which of course is the hotbed of underwater photography and oceans. You're supposed to be from California and rather large, like 6 feet and bronzed, but I'm from here. And when you're young and in New York, a little boy in New York or girl in New York, you're sent away during the summers, usually to summer camp in the Adirondacks. And there I was, climbing mountains, which was torture for me because I had asthma and I'd wheeze up a mountain and I'd get to the top of it and everything would look red because I couldn't breathe. So they sent me to the dock on the summer camp. And these evil 14-year-old counselors said, go under the dock. And they knew that there was a giant water spider, actually dock spider. And they get to be about this big, like a butter plate. And they thought it would scare the hell out of me. And I put my head underwater with a French blue mask, and I saw slanting light, sunfish going between the light rays. saw the water spider, and my life changed.
Jennifer, did you have a similar calling like that? It's like, I've always loved rock climbing, but I definitely never had a moment where I was like, this is my destiny. You know, it's just kind of like, it was more like day in and day out. I would prefer to go climbing than do anything else, really. And I'm curious what your path felt like.
I grew up on a dairy farm, and we had streams and ponds and Lake Ontario, and I was forever trying to figure out what was in there. It was all about biology, living things, but I was always outside. We had, 1,000 acres to roam on, and I would go out on the horse and go through the streams and look and do it, or go down and capture, snapping turtles and raise their eggs and stuff. And then I just got more and more curious.
Where does that spark come from, do you think?
As a 10-year-old, I had a little floaty boat. One of those blow-up ones you use the foot pump on, and you blow it up, and it's, 7, 8 feet long. You got the world's worst paddle.
Yep.
I pulled up
Goes in
next to
circles.
a log. Yep. It was in Lake Ontario. It was a really sunny day. And I pulled up next to what I thought was a floating log, longer than my little paddle boat, and the log swam away. I went back to my father. I said, I don't know what I just saw, but there was something at the surface. He said, you saw a sturgeon. It was a sturgeon sunning itself at the surface.
That's a giant sturgeon.
That's a big lake sturgeon. It was probably 7, 8, or 9 feet long, longer. So my little puny little boat was probably 6 feet. Right? I was like, what?
I was like, are there alligators
that?
in the Great Lakes? I was
So,
like, wow.
yeah, when your log swims away as a kid, you run away or you run towards that. What was it? I want to know more. I think I ran towards it because fast forward decades later, I work on my doctorate in sturgeon.
And David, I mean, were you, like, what drew you? I mean, it seemed like you were immediately, there was a spark to the undersea world.
We always say that curiosity, Jennifer and I always say, it's the second greatest of all human attributes.
What's the greatest then?
Kindness.
All right, go on, sorry.
But what drew me into it is here is the other side of this world, of our planet. And as Arthur C. Clarke said, and this is a wonderful quote too, he said, it's inconceivable that we call this planet Earth when it is clearly ocean. And it really is. I mean, these first pictures from space, we see this blue planet. And I wanted to go beneath the surface. The surface, as far as I could see when I was younger, and people were constantly yelling at me because I was underachieving. But when I put my head underwater, all of that vanished. And then I realized that surface area, that thin molecular surface, was the largest boundary on the face of the Earth. It divides the known from the unknown, from the air world, which we all know, to the water world, which we don't know. All of our lives underwater, we see at best 100 feet, 30 meters. And the trick is to try and make an image there, to try and bring back the news from this other world. And that's what is the curiosity, and that's what drives me.
What's changed for you guys?
We've looked at changes in a project called Oceans Through the Lens of Time. We go back to images and stories that we shot, find a coral head or a piece of coral, for instance, in the exact same place. And this is the trick. It's got to be the exact same place. Then go to the same place and remake the same picture. When Jennifer began to research it, she found that Tuaman Bay in Guam, this marvelous reef, she found that it had back-to-back episodes of what's called coral bleaching. When the water heats up, the algae leaves the coral turns white and dies. And it was a battlefield image, a picture of total devastation from a place that once was a garden. And the same applies to Opal Reef on the Great Barrier Reef, too.
Tell me about these images. I mean, you found some of these places and you shot some of these.
So we went back. David has been shooting for 5 decades for National Geographic. I mean, my office is like a gazillion 35 millimeter slides. Half of the gazillion, yes, have been digitized, half not. And you look around in that office and you're like, wait a minute. How do you make an archive work for you? Do you let this get dusty? you haul those images out, you scan them, you make them big, you posterize them, then you laminate them, and you go back to those places on the Great Barrier Reef, get the same guide you had 10 years ago, a decade ago, go down, find exactly the same GPS point, and say, oh my God, a decade ago, people, it looked like this. Incredible, busy, crazy, life exploding. Today, it's crumbling. It's a cemetery. And then you put them side by side in the same frame, or you show them back to back, and people are like, oh my God, that's 10 years. Yeah, imagine what 50 years is going to look like.
But most people probably believe that things are happening, but it's like, but you're left with a sort of hopelessness, like, but what do I do about it? Like, I'm too small. Like,
so,
what does an individual do?
My answer, and ours would be different, is first off, everything is local. We act locally, we act regionally, and we act globally in any way we can. We sort of try to set an example and inspire. We give talks around where we are. We come up and we share those changes with our community, and our community is like, what? And it begins to make a difference. We get into classrooms. We take students out. That's where I feel we make a difference.
I think like for the next generation of conservationists moving forward, it's like they kind of have to just look at like, what can you protect? What can you save? Mission Blues, like hope spots and things like that. Like, where can you find little beacons of hope around the world? And what can you do with those? I think
you're 100% correct. We have students starting out now. They have what they have in their pocket. Protect what they can. Protect what's here.
We have thermometers, though, and they're images. The work that Jens Balog does in glaciers.
Yeah, chasing ice. I actually wanted to say that because your reef project seems just like chasing ice for the ocean.
Chasing coral. All of these are great works, but what they are thermometers. And they're thermometers that exhibit the health of the planet. And they're right there. They're right in front of us. They're thermometers. At the same time, they're also police reports. This is what happens. They're forensic. And you say, this is what happens. This is what can happen. And in the best situations, there are still incredible hope spots. It's a good phrase, Sylvia's phrase, hope spots. For instance, when I was 12 years old, my father took me to the Caribbean for the first time. It was a forest of elkhorn coral. That's the big brown hand-shaped coral. And underneath this forest were rivers of these grunts and snappers and yellow snappers and schoolmasters and just unbelievable rivers of fish here in the Caribbean at our doorstep. And for the most part, it's all gone, except for a few reefs and a place called the Gardens of the Queens, which is an archipelago in the southern corner of Cuba that has been totally preserved. And it's like a time machine. For Jennifer and I, it was like going back in time. And for the late Peter Benchley, who wrote the first story we did there in 2000, he said, I woke up in another century.
And why has that area been protected?
It has been
how has it been protected?
By this insane piece of combination of geography and geopolitics. Geography is because it's under the great, broad, 1,000-mile-long hat of Cuba that protects the Caribbean for these northern storms. And the storms the great hurricanes either miss this part of Cuba or go to the north of Cuba, and it's still there. So that doesn't get hammered every year. And right now it's still in incredible shape. It's a time machine. We just rub our eyes and look at this place of what the Caribbean was and what the Caribbean should be, but it's not. So those are places that live.
Yes, so I'm kind of curious, so through Planet Visionaries, obviously I've interviewed a bunch of different marine biologists, people like Sylvia Earle. Yeah. And one of the things that I've been struck by is actually how resilient the ocean is in some ways and how quickly it can bounce back given protected status or something. Like basically, if you remove the fishing, you remove the pollution, and you give something some protected time and or protected space and a little bit of time, things come back. Is that something that you guys have seen through your own work at all? Or, it's like, are there other examples of places in the ocean where you see it thriving given the right conditions?
No, definitely. When we started in Raja Ampat, We were at sea for 30 days 2 decades ago. Didn't see another vessel. We might have seen a dugout. We might have seen an outrigger, but we did not see another liveaboard. And this place was declared, they were doing rapid assessments to do fish counts. And all of a sudden, oh my God, this is the breadbasket of biodiversity. This is ocean wild. This is it. This is the epicenter, ground zero. And then with that announcement, more people came. And then more people came. A bunch of different foundations came. I said, oh my goodness, how do we protect literally what we just talked about? Look at what is here now to still protect. Yep. So 20 years ago, when we began documenting this place with the scientists, there were 0 MPAs, none. It was just getting started.
That's marine protected areas.
Marine protected areas. Fast forward to where you and I are today, and where we will be. We were there in May, and we're going back this March. 9 marine protected areas. And what were shark finning areas, shark finning islands, are now shark nurseries, releasing zebra sharks back into the sea. The marine protected areas are now areas where fish reproduce, spill over, sustain fishing on the outside of the marine protected area, but still are producing these sanctuaries that can then provide and reproduce other areas.
Doesn't that give you some hope? I mean,
that gives us a lot of hope.
That's the thing is, like, every time I hear stories like this in the ocean, I'm sort of like, humans have done a tremendous amount of damage to the oceans, and yet conservation can work when done properly.
We live in an amazing place. Amazing. Yes, it used to be different and even more amazing, but you're right. We live in an amazing place, and it's worth protecting. And how to motivate people to spend their time, their energy, their money, their behavior, mostly time investing in the planet. That's what I want to see, people investing in the planet.
So, David, you've been a Rolex Testimonee since 1994. How has that affected your work, and what have you done with Rolex?
Well, the truth is I've had a Rolex on my wrist since I was 15 years old, because that was the watch that worked underwater when I was working starting at the Sandy Hook Marine Labs when I was a volunteer, then a diver when I was 16, and I needed a watch that was going to work all the time, every time, and never fail, and that was Rolex. So Rolex has been, in my life, Rolex has been a constant, always, and since 1994, I've been a Testimonee, it's a great honor. It's part of a family. An incredible family, and they have been basically with me. If all your computers go down, and they have done that, batteries fail, different things happen, we use the watch to time us. Diving without a watch, and for me diving, and for Jennifer diving without a Rolex is something we have never done. They're more than just a beautiful timepiece. They are our lives, really.
They work.
And they work.
You're at 120 feet, and all of a sudden you have no idea how long you've been there when your computer's dead. And then you just roll back your neoprene and you're looking, you say, I've been here this long, and now I have this long to get back and have to stop here, here, and here.
That is the most practical application.
It's as important as the camera. It's as important as the camera.
Yeah.
That is, that's amazing.
And it came up with this idea that time underwater is as valuable as air.
Yeah, it makes sense. What's your upcoming expedition with Rolex?
We are doing an expedition with Rolex in National Geographic that is a kind of a long-term, ultimate life dream of doing a story and an expedition, and that is about Raja Ampat, this incredible corner of our planet that is the ultimate center of marine biodiversity. More corals, more species of fish, more invertebrates, more everything, all gathered in this one part of this coral universe. And we're going back there. We've started work there. My gosh, it's now been almost 20, 25 years there. And we're going back there and we're documenting Raja Ampat with new equipment, new cameras, new eyes, and especially reporting on the absolute successes of marine protected areas. that's a piece of work that I've dreamed about, Jennifer's dreamed about for a long time. Yeah.
It's a chance to go back, take a look at an ocean through the lens of time. They're already putting sharks back in to the sea there through Reshark. It's resharking the planet. It's this simple. You ready, Alex? Put sharks back. So now we're going back to this place that we've looked at for 2 decades. We can look back and see where we were then. Fast forward to now. How do marine protected areas work? What are the challenges? What are the victories? What are the losses? And share that with the planet.
Amazing. If you were starting over, what would you be starting with at this point? Like, where do you see the opportunity here is?
The greatest legacy that I've had in this long career is the fact that I've influenced 2 generations of underwater photographers who are taking what we know and how we photographed many, many, many steps farther every day in, day out. Pictures are getting better. Pictures are changing. Pictures are more intimate. Pictures are incredible right now. That's the best part of it. How to influence people? Well, I think that you can see what photography in itself has influenced and preserved. For instance, Yosemite.
Ansel Adams.
Yeah, photography with Ansel Adams.
There's prints in my house.
Yeah.
It's like, do you love Yosemite? That's a good example.
And of course, the Grand Canyon. And of course, many other things. And the oceans, we've been instrumental. I can't say, the pictures that Jennifer and I have made have been instantly turned into national parks. No, we haven't done that. But they've been instrumental in sending people in the right directions. Whales, the work that our colleague Flip Nicklin did initially with whales has basically involved the rest of the world in the fact that this is what whales look like, and it's given us a belief that whales are the most complex, most complete animals on the planet.
That's probably the reason that I think of whales the way that I do, is because of, these sorts of images that you guys have been working on your whole lives.
People fought for them, but to fight for them and to fight to stop whaling, they had to know what they were, right?
Yeah.
They had to see what they were. They had to know who they were. They're sentient, they're matriarchal, they're many things. Their family bonds are similar or as strong as. So with knowledge comes understanding. And with understanding comes this desire to maybe protect. And then maybe with a desire becomes a behavioral change to actively engage. So one of the things David and I do are go out and we submerge with the scuba nauts in Florida, followed them as they replanted coral in the Keys. And we did none of the talking. We said, it's not about us. When they surfaced, what did you just do? Why? What brought you to this? It's all their voice. It's not somebody that's 3 decades old, 4 decades old, 5 decades old, 6 decades, saying how great they are. It's learning from them what brought them to the sea. To share that, we go out, and when we do presentations, whether it's National Geographic Live or anything, we share their voice. We share what they're doing. So I want these kids to get out of their own way and not do what I did, which was put myself in that's for some other kid who's the son or a daughter of a marine biologist. No, if you're interested and you're passionate, you can do this. So looking and working with Ocean's Next Generation, this has been great to actually inspire kids.
Honestly, hearing you say that is the thing I think the most about with Planet Visionaries in general, I think, is hoping that audiences take away that idea of like, well, if other people are doing a thing, why can't I do a thing? It's like...
I don't think I'm the only one that got in my own way.
It's like you grow up on a dairy farm and you're like, oh, it turns out totally different.
Really. Yeah, I was going to marry Tom Sawyer next door because they had a bigger tractor. My dad was pretty convinced. He's like, yeah, that guy. And I'm like, yeah, but I kind of like fish and ichthyology. Yeah, so you have to...
Well, it's hard to pass up a bigger tractor, though. I mean, come on.
What are you going to do? I mean, you have to let yourself climb out of the box. Mm-hmm. You have to let yourself go.
And I think that's a good reminder for anybody listening that, if they're interested in an unusual thing, like do the thing. Just follow the path. like take the path a little further than you thought you maybe could.
Break
And
the gravity.
Yeah, like
There's
see where
gravity
the path takes
that holds us. Your gravity was broken when you were born. You knew what you wanted to do, and I'm so jealous, and I hate you for that. Because it took me zigzag thing.
Yeah, I think that's pretty unusual, actually, because I mean, because people always ask me the same thing, like, oh, did you just know? And I'm like, well, not really. Like, I just have always preferred to climb than do other things. But it's not like it was my calling. You know, it's you just keep going down a path, and eventually you wind up really, really far down that path.
Yeah.
If you keep going.
If you keep going. And I think you did know. You have your original frog fins, your mask, your like original tiny little
you were just lucky
camera.
that there was a signpost telling you which path to go down. The rest of us just kind of
and thank God.
wander down. And
thank God you were no good at math, and thank God you were no good at like physics, because you would have wandered off the path and gone and done something else, and you've been unhappy. And here you are.
Well, there was a problem with the path, is that there wasn't really a path.
This is true. There was no path.
So but in a way, you created the path.
Yeah.
Like
that's a very good point.
You just took a direction, and that becomes a path.
That's a very good point.
But the driving force about all of this thing, and the driving force when you finish a climb, or when you stand on top of a mountain, and you talk about it, and you think about it, or even if you don't say a word, there is a certain amount of influence that goes off throughout the world about what this world is all about. The greatest show on Earth is Earth itself. And we're all involved in that show. Nature photographers, all of us are now journalists, telling a very, very important story. Whether it's from the mountaintop or from the bottom of the ocean, this is a story about this planet. And that's all we have. That's one of the greatest gifts of the images from space and the space program itself. If there was a single one gift, it's not Tang, but it's the picture of our planet. And that changes everything. It changes our whole perspective. But there's something else too. It's an enormous joy to swim underwater, to see something, to make a picture and bring it back. It's pure joy for me and for many, many others. And when you see a great picture like that, it not only communicates that, but it communicates a place and a time that's absolutely beautiful, wonderful, curious, but delicate.
David, Jen, I really appreciate you guys taking the time chatting on Planet Visionaries today.
It's an honor to be here. One of the things that I tell all our colleagues, anybody that's a storyteller, writer, an outdoor enthusiast, you're increasing awareness. I think that's the key, is to make people aware of what a special place we live, this planet, and to connect them.
Thanks again to David Doubilet and Jennifer Hayes. We will put links to their work in the show notes for this episode. Planet Visionaries is a podcast in partnership with the Rolex Perpetual Planet Initiative and a Sony Music podcast production.